Hey, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. You're along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the Swedish saber-toothed Pharaoh, and special guest co-host Scottie the Smile Deubler.
Hey, I've never been in an accident, but I have been in an on purpose.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, first off, Cole's real job gets in the way of all our fun, but thank you so much, Mr. Scottie Deubler, for jumping in as a guest co-host. Greatly appreciate it. I know you've got the Off the Groove podcast that you're hammering out every week, and man, thanks for taking a little time to jump in with us.
Hey, no problem, man. It's always good to see you and catch up for a brief second with Cole. You know, I don't know how to respond to his one-liners, but he's something. And man, it's good to see you. And I can't wait to hang out with you and Sturgis here in a couple of days. But man, it's crazy around here.
Yeah, it's wild. Everybody's just going crazy busy. And, by the time this episode comes out, Sturgis will be done.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately. But, man.
Well, then I had a great time with you last week.
Yeah. Man, adapt and overcome. Boom. Like
Boom.
That. Love it.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to being there. And I've never been, so it should be a great time.
Hold on a second. Mad Dog has never been to Sturgis?
Negative.
Negative. Sturgis will never be the same.
I hope so. It's always conflicted with Doomfest up in Oregon, and the also, I usually have been going up there and then to the Castle Rock AFT race right after. So
right.
Yeah, it's just been, but this year me and the boss or good old J-Dub are making our way out. So they'll be, I'm looking forward to that for sure. It's going to be good. So
it's going to be a lot of fun. I love Sturgis. I've been going almost every year. I was born in South Dakota, so it was on the other side of the state, but it seemed like we went to Sturgis every single year. My dad thinks I've been there 46 times. Well, I'm only 51, so I don't know if I've missed more than 5 of them, but man, I love Sturgis, and there's nothing like riding through the Black Hills, hanging with the people, going to downtown Sturgis. You can go to Deadwood, you can go to Hill City, go see Mount Rushmore. And the riding is just beautiful. So you're going to have the time of your life, or you had the time of your life last week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure, man. It's going to be a good time. And, all these good times that we have exist thanks to our first responders, always being sharp, always looking out for us. Great respect for our first responders. Thank you so much. And, of course, our men and women, our U.S. service people all around the world, thank you for your service. We have great respect for you guys, and so grateful for all of you. And our veterans, huge shout out, our POWs, and of course, a serious heartfelt thank you to the families of those that gave all the KIA, MIA, a great respect and thank you.
Yeah, well said, Lauren. Yeah, we couldn't be the greatest nation in the world without those folks you just talked about, and the paramedics keeping us safe, and the military people that served and are serving right now abroad to keep us safe. Man, thank you for all that you are doing and have done, because we are the greatest nation in the world. That's why everybody wants to come over here and be with us.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of great things, how about Kicker Performance Audio, man? They're such a great partner of ours, always supporting us, right behind us the whole time since the get-go. Over 2 years now here at the After Show. You can find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram, at Kicker Audio on Facebook, Kicker, and every other Tuesday night live on their Kicker YouTube channel, the Kicker Unmasked Live TV show. Check them out. Tell them Mad Dog sent you. of course, bomber eyewear, bomber floating eyewear, and bomber safety eyewear. I don't wear anything but bomber eyewear, and there's the reason. I mean, I have a pair of safety glasses that I have had for probably 5 years. They are started as sunglasses. They are beat to death. The paint's chipped off of them. They have saved me from fractured grinding discs and chunks of dirt standing behind the start gate. And man, check them out. BomberEyewear.com, on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. Of course, the Premix podcast, and our man Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera, and may have a couple of MC availability bookings late this year, but I know he is slammed. I would guess he's probably booking for next year at this point. So slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix podcast. That's the at symbol, ThePremixPodcast. Hit him up. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film. She's getting editing work done. She's getting video editing work done, getting everything up on our YouTube channel. She's just busting her butt, and we're so grateful for her. You can find our YouTube channel at MAddOG, MAddOG Media. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, doing our graphics. She designed our logo. She does most of our social media templates. You can find her on the webs, heykeeks.com, or yell, Hey Keeks. Even easier, look her up on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. And of course, Off the Groove podcast, Mr. Scottie D himself, every Friday, a new episode, right?
Yeah, every Friday I'm up to like 276 or 277, I think, man. It's crazy. I took about a year hiatus, and it's back. I'm not perfecting having guests on here yet. I've got a few things in the works, but right now it's just me talking about the flat track, talking about the the latest and greatest information, what's going on, if there's any rules changes, if there's races coming up, and of course race results, where I've been, what's been going on, and what's new and what's happening in the great world of flat track.
Yeah, it's I listen to it. I'm very hyperactive, as you know, so I like the fact that it's not, people probably get bored listening to us because we're an hour long, but man, you get to the point, and you've got some great insight into the industry for sure. And I always love hearing what you're up to. And that comes out every Friday.
Yep, every Friday. It's usually around lunchtime, Central Standard Time. I've been putting them out a little bit earlier lately, and if there's a patron or anybody on Patreon supports the podcast, they get it the night before. So it's just a little way for them to support the podcast. But yeah, no, it's every Friday. It's my opinion. I kind of give both sides of the story because I work for Progressive American Flat Track, but
Right.
I'm also a diehard, hardcore flat track fan my whole entire life. So I won't take their side per se, or I won't take my side, but I'll give you both sides of the story and let you figure out what you think's going on. So anyways, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we have a very special guest coming up. My good friend, Mr. John Rall of Kawasaki Marketing. Hi, John.
Hey, man. How you
How
doing?
are you?
Good.
I am doing great. Thanks. John, do you know Scottie Deubler?
You probably remember me. I've been around some of the flat track for a pretty good while. So,
I was
yeah.
going to say, I knew our paths had crossed. I don't know how much we've ever sat down and actually spoke together, but yeah,
Right.
I knew who you were.
And you work with my good buddy, Ralph Shaheen.
Yeah, he said it's an inch away from me every freaking weekend. Like we're stuffed in a little bitty front of the semi trailer, so a makeshift booth.
Well, keep him in line, please.
Well, I try, but we have cameras on us, so I got to be careful.
Yeah. I kind of helped with the whole deal with the Brian Smith when we were doing that and everything, and tried to make sure, that we were part of it. Great times.
That's awesome. I wish there's more Kawasaki's out there right now. I think I think, they're getting rid of the Indians for next year, and I think there's room for them again. So we'll see if any of them surface back up. How about that?
I think they will. I was
too.
talking to somebody the other day. I was in a meeting with all the AFT people. This is years ago in Indianapolis, and I wish a lot of that what happened at that meeting that time, because all the OEMs were there and I was there for Kawasaki. I wish that whole story could get told, because
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot to it, and I know it's a tough time, but you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to help AFT and
Awesome.
whatever we can do.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I like it.
Yeah, John, just so you know, Scottie's sitting in co-host because my regular co-host Cole is stuck working incredibly long days right now. So he is here listening. He is actually probably, you're at KMC today?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So he's probably like 6 miles from you.
Oh, really?
Hey,
Yeah,
how you
he's-
doing? How you doing, John? Yeah, I'm just over right in Mission Viejo. I'm right Santa Margarita Parkway and Marguerite, so can almost see your building.
Yeah, you know where we're at and everything.
Oh yeah, got to pass it to go to tacos right there at Avia's.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Priorities.
It's a neat building, and I try to get anybody that's in town to come by, because we have so much of the history here of Kawasaki. One of the
Yeah.
things for me, I've been here 36 years and then been involved with it for a lot longer. But, there's a lot of cool history here, and the story of Kawasaki is really pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's so I don't run a format. It's just kind of, let's kick it off and see where we go, and it's kind of up to you where we want to go, and we'll just follow your lead. And Cole, you definitely need to go by and have John give you the tour though, because it's amazing.
Oh, I can only imagine. It's just so beautiful from the outside.
But I'm going to give you a little hint. You either need to come by tomorrow or the first 2 weeks of October, maybe,
Oh, okay, okay.
if you want to catch me here. If you
All right,
wanna-
perfect. I appreciate that very
Oh.
much.
This
Yeah.
Scottie, John travels more than you and I.
I don't know how that's possible.
Pre-COVID, I was doing about 230 a day, 230 a year.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's a rough life.
You kind of like, I think every one of us here has been part of the traveling road shows and traveling this, that, and
Circus,
the other,
yeah. Yep.
And I think you just get into that rhythm and you just kind of keep on going, Do I think it's as easy than 20 years ago? No, I love it. I look at it as every time I leave my house is an adventure, whether I'm going to, we used to do 30 farm shows a year here. I called it the manure tour. And, it's whether you're going to one of those or you get to go to an AFT race or you're getting to go out to Lake Havasu for World Jet Ski Finals. I remember when we used to get 40, 50, 70, 100,000 people out there to Havasu for jet ski finals.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's so I look at it all, or Scottie, I remember the first time I raced flat track at Daytona, there was 340 novices.
Right.
I won my heat race and got eliminated.
Still go home. Exactly. Yeah. My dad tells me those stories all the time too. He was pretty good back in the day too. And he would say he would go to Sturgis sometimes and he could win your heat race and still load up. Like only the fastest 12 heat race winners got to go to the main. That was it. No second chance, no last chance qualifier, nothing.
Wow.
No. So, I think with all the travel, it's always an adventure. There's sometimes that some of the adventures are kind of maybe you didn't need, and a lot of them stories that we all probably can't tell right now. But
Yep. Exactly.
Been there.
How about the old Muzzy days and everything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was it's funny. I talked to Rob this morning. So he said to pass his best on, and he's doing good. So we're gonna have him on here at some point also. So
I always liked it, Muzzy, the last race of the year. he would be at our doorstep that Monday morning because he wanted his bonus check and stuff like that.
That's awesome. See, that's stuff that nobody else will ever talk about, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
Well,
awesome.
maybe in a few weeks I can even say some more stories about a lot of this stuff. But it's this industry. Because you look back on it, and I look back on everything that I've gotten to be able to do, in the places that I've gotten to go because of it. I've done world press intros with media from all over the world, and just some of the people I've got to meet and the places I've gotten to go, and knowing the Ralph Shaheens. Scotty, you, and just everybody that's on here. I feel we're all kind of blessed that the other people never got to kind of experience everything that we've been able to
Right.
experience.
I agree
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. So that's actually a good jump back point, John. So we're like, you've been doing this a long time for Kawasaki. You've
Yes,
been
sir.
with Kawasaki, what'd you say,
36.
36 years, which is
Yeah.
amazing. And they're lucky to have you. You've been through pretty much every facet of Kawasaki in 36 years. But before that, like, you're a motorsports guy, you're a revved engine guy. Where did all that start? Like, what got you up to
A Honda
where
Z50. A Honda Z50 started it. And I told my parents if they'd get me one of those, and I'd pay for part of it, I'd never want anything bigger. Well, 3 months later, I had a Honda SL100, and then it just went on and on and on from there, which I'm sure is kind of the same with so many of us,
Yep.
And yeah, it was funny because the other night here, I was flipping through channels and they had the Bruce Brown, not on any Sunday, but they had the Endless Summer on,
Yeah.
But there's so many correlations to that to me to On Any Sunday. And the On Any Sunday, I mean, that's why we're all doing this and stuff like that. And you asked also too, because most of you guys know that I worked for Richard Childress in NASCAR too. And,
I did not know that.
Yeah, I worked for Childress and everything. So that was really cool part of it too. So I've always been I've always wanted to be around it, and sneaking into the pits at Daytona to see some of my heroes get to race road racers and stuff like that, and the whole bit. It just you're kind of in awe with some of the people and some of the places, and I got to be at Indy when Roberts won on the TZ, and that's something I can still hear in the back of my mind, or the road racing at Daytona, sitting up in the stands, and watching Scott Russell fall and then pick up the bike and win. I think you get it. I call it, I got to come in here for my fix every day.
I totally understand that. That's what I say for, obviously I made a promise to my wife that I would stop racing quads and bikes and all that in 2010. And I stopped, but I still get my fix by going to all these races and being around all these motorsports events, so now I did not promise her that I would not race a side-by-side in the desert at some point, but
yeah. Actually, it's funny because tomorrow kind of is my day, kind of a last day before I go out on leave for a while, and then I come back for a couple of weeks and everything. But I'm doing a big media event on Saturday all day, so I'm pushing it right to the end, and I'm actually working with them for some stuff, that I'm going to have to help them with, for the future and everything. So I'm not getting completely out of it. I don't think any of us can ever get completely out of it and stuff like that,
Right.
And, if AFT needs somebody to sweep the track, I'll come out and help them do that, and everything. So yeah, it's really, I was talking to another one of my coworkers here, Croft Long, today, and I was talking to him about all the places that we've gotten to go, all the world press intros and some of the stories from that, but just the friendships made, whether it was the Japanese people that I've met along the way and everything, or whether it's every one of you guys on here, and or if I go to an AFT, how many people I know or have made friends with, and my phone is very, very always ready for anybody to call and everything.
John, you said you raced some flat track, when you're growing up. So where did you start growing up, and where did you start racing flat track at?
The Carolinas.
Okay.
Rick
Okay.
Farrington's and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And unfortunately, Will Davis, all those, and the Eddie Suttons. I used to race at Gene Church, Turnersburg on Saturday night, or Brewers short track. Fridays, we went to other places, Dispatana, Virginia. Some of them that don't really remember me or know me, like Mike Eads and stuff like that from Virginia. Well, I used to go up there on Wednesday nights and come back, just make it in time for school the next day, in North Carolina and everything. So it was kind of a little bit all over there. And then some great friends of mine, we all said, oh, we better get our licenses and stuff like that. So we did that. I made it up to junior, and then it just kind of, to be honest with you, I just got too busy, and it's something that I truly miss, but I got to go to a lot of neat ones. Like I remember one of my fun times was Freeman short track. We went down there, and what I did was, I said, I want to ride with Kenny Roberts one time, because I was just a novice back then. That's back before they'd let you move up. So what I did is I colored my red number plates in with a black magic marker so I could go out in his practice session. That sucker, so he went out, he lapped me, and when he came by me, he hit me, and he knocked me about 2 feet over to get past me and everything. I've never seen anybody so fast. But I was going to say that I got to ride with him. That's the year. It is so long ago, and I'm hoping I'm not going on too long. But
Not at all.
with Terry Poovey ended up winning the national, and I think he was more excited about winning the carton of cigarettes than he was the money.
Yeah, exactly. The good old days, right?
Yeah, and then I knew Guy McClure and Kid and a bunch of them and everything. So I was really lucky to grow up in the Carolinas and with so much going on. But we did travel around a fair amount.
That's awesome. And so what happened to go from the SL 100 to flat track? Like, did you do moto in between?
I did do a lot of moto. I mean, I had a CR 125, I had a Husky 125, I had a bunch of moto bikes and was doing moto. And this friend of mine that was doing some road racing said, hey, you need to come to go with us to this road race and everything. We went to Nelson Ledges to a 24-hour race. Ooh. I was like 14. Well, somebody got sick. Well, I'd never been on street bike at all. Well, they needed somebody to ride in the middle of the night. So I helped. They put me in some leathers and everything. When my mom found out, dude, she almost killed the guy that owned the dealership that we were riding for and everything. But anyhow, so that I did that. But then he was telling me about this flat track stuff. And I was like, I got to try this. So took my CR 125, got an old K70 and a different wheel, and went down to Brewers track down in in North Carolina. And that's what started it, and just enjoyed it. And I'll tell you what really was something about it. The moto was fun, and I did have a good time doing moto, but everybody at the flat track wanted to be there and wanted to make sure that everybody, it didn't matter whose bike it was, if there was a broke one, you're going to get it fixed and try to help them, and everything. It just seemed more like a true family affair, almost a little bit more than moto.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I raced motocross like the late 80s and early 90s. And I was telling Mad Dog before we got on that when I raced motocross, it was always Kawasaki. I had KX 125s, from, I think my first one was in 82. And then I had like 89, 91, 93. I went the odd years because they made all the big changes in the even years, but we refined them in the odd years is what we found. But anyway, if I had an incident on a motocross track, I had to fix it myself, or me and my dad or whatever. But at a flat track race, the guy parked right beside me, who I might be in my class, will come over and help me fix my flat track bike. It was just, I don't know if the motocross is more like a clique-ish, like if you weren't in that clique, you didn't get any help. And I don't know if maybe I was just an outsider, but I feel the same way, John, where, the flat track's a family and anybody will help anybody. And it's still that way today.
And that's why I still love it. And it's something that is really true to my heart is the flat track stuff and everything, you know. I
Yeah,
told my girlfriend of 21 years, I said, you know, maybe I should go ride again and everything.
yeah.
And she doesn't usually say much about anything. She doesn't like it when we go in and break out, when she sees me break my road race leathers out and we're going to go break in bikes at a road race track or something at Willow. She says, you don't go over 55. Tell her I see it on the way up and on the way down. But
Yeah.
she got nervous, you know, when, you know, Poovy got hurt and then a couple of the others, you know, and everything that, yeah, I probably shouldn't do it anymore. But, you know, it still is a big family thing and everything. There's so many great people. I remember being at a flat track race one time and my bike broke, blew a base gasket out. And I was like, nobody had one and everything. And one of the other mechanics says, well, there's a poster right there. So we made one out of a poster so I could race. He helped me do it. And, you know,
Wow.
it just makes you, or people would almost loan your other motorcycles and everything. Scotty, wouldn't you say? And I think that's one thing that's always attracted to it. It is like a family, and it's, to me, it's not a cult, but it's a really interesting group, and it's people that are very pleasant.
Yeah, I've borrowed a few different motorcycles at the racetrack, and it might have been a backup to the guy that I'm getting ready to race against, you know. And one time in Oklahoma City at the half mile, I was supposed to ride an 883 Harley when there was an 883 class.
Yeah.
The guy I was supposed to ride broke down on the way to the races. I went and found a guy that had 2 or 3 backup bikes, and I rode his backup motorcycle, and I got a ride. I got to be his teammate for the rest of the season. I mean, it's just that, to me, stuff like that never happened to me in motocross, and I love the flat track family, and you know, they're my second family. I have my blood family, and then I got the flat track family I get to see every weekend.
Well, I think it's really respectable what you do and how you know, you're helping and everything. And I have a ton of respect for people like you and Ralph and everything that do, you know, do what you do at the tracks. But you're doing it because for the love, not for just the dollar, the payment and everything. And I can't thank you enough for continuing it on.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate that.
For sure, I agree with that. And you know, the years I was with Muzzy, of course, our primary at the time was more off-road and stuff like that. But, you know, getting to hear his flat track stories and the, you know, incredible talents that he worked with and the things that they did and the things guys did with bikes and then, you know, being able to, when Kicker got involved and started sending me to the AFT races, I've been to a lot of races throughout my entire life. And I would agree. They've done a great job with AFT. And now I've been to a couple other short track, flat track races that weren't AFT, but it's very grassroots, you know?
Yeah. I'm just hoping that everybody, you know, I don't want to say anything about any other OEMs. In fact, I won't. But I think there was a bad situation that came up. It's been a tough situation for everybody and anybody. And we can all sit back and be armchair quarterbacks about what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened and everything. And I think what we need to do now is say, that's the past. If you want to bitch and moan, go down the street. But you know what? This is what we're doing from today on. Let's all work to get this back to where we all wanted for the future and for the future of the future kids and racers, guys, girls. I don't care what it is. But I really want to see that. I just hate all the negativity. It's not helping. And, you know, I've been around big sponsors when I worked in the NASCAR area, and a lot of my friends own a lot of the big tracks, the Smith family and everything. And I just want to see it go the other way. And come on, people, it's going to change. You know, I've had change here, you know, over the 36 years. And sometimes, as I joke about it, some days it's 1 beer days, some days it's 12-pack days, you know, but that's life. But I want everybody to just, come on. This is what it is, you know, and this is what we need to do. And we all need to be progressive and try to move on.
We have a lot of stuff going in the right direction, and the rule changes for next year. Actually, the rules are supposed to be out the middle of August for the next 3 seasons, and they're talking about production based motorcycles only. Well, that's going to open up the door for not only like Kawasaki to come back. You got Triumph, possibly you've got Ducati, you've got some other brands are interested, and I think that's what we need right now.
Yes.
I might not agree with all the decisions they make, but if we can get more OEMs involved, that's gonna be better for everybody.
Well, we need to be selling something. I don't. From my standpoint, we need to be selling something that's somewhat likable to what's sold in the showroom.
Yeah.
That's how you get an OEM back and everything. Do I think they're all going to run back in? No. I think you will get them in slowly because they'll see the changes and everything else. I just think there was some bad wording a long time ago, about, oh, well, you guys need to build a better mousetrap. We have to, bikes used to be built kind of, you could get it kind of the model that the US, would sell more of and stuff like that. Now it's what sells globally. It's not like the older days and stuff like that. During the Muzzy days, I mean, how many 636s or 600s we used to sell. I mean, Honda doesn't even sell one today, and they used to sell over 100,000 a year, or I really not going to give exact numbers, but there was a lot of 600 sold, and I think times have changed, but we need to, so it's more global, it's not local, is what some of the OEMs are doing.
Well, and even on that point, even back the ZX7R, ZX7RR days, man, I remember having a conversation with Rob one time about, working with, in essence, like you were saying, a production-based bike, in the road race scene in the USA, especially, and some of the issues, but it being, how were you faster? Well, it was a matter of perfect parts. Yeah, we had OEM parts, but they were perfect parts, and that, in essence, is really the grassroots of a production-based race vehicle, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen such a deviation on the, like NASCAR has had such a deviation from anything close to production. And really AFT, I mean, I'm not affiliated with anybody. So, back a few years ago when Indian got their advantage, for even if it was for a limited time, I am familiar with some guys, know some guys that worked on the engineering project on the engine on that. And man, what they spent, what Polaris spent on the engine development was probably what Harley was spending on their entire race program at the time,
I'm a little confused of that whole. I have some questions about the Indian thing, about, because it's about profit, and especially for a company like them that's on the stock market, that they have to show and to build 100 motorcycles or whatever the final number was, and I've never really gotten a true answer, but to only do it once and everything, but I got to tell you, they built a beautiful motorcycle that did exactly what it was supposed to do and did it perfectly. So I got to give them that, and everything. I wish the XG had worked out better, for them and everything, and I had one of the Harley people at Daytona one time. I said, I really, this is a while ago when they were doing the TT at Daytona and inside the bowl and everything. I was like, we were having a beer and I said, I really can't wait for you guys to win. He says, well, what about you guys? I said, we all need to win. I said, we need it good for everybody. And I said, I'm a motorcyclist. Yeah, I want us to win, but we need you guys to win too. And I was disappointed that the XG kind of, and who knows why. And, it just, I think it was the same thing as some of our people that were doing our bikes, it was just apples to oranges and everything. And I can't put down Indian. Indian built a fantastic bike for that. And we all know that, and they proved it. So
Yeah.
but we do need to go back. I think I was so happy. I'll never forget at the mile out here, and seeing all the brands doing so well. Because if all the brands are doing well, then the industry's doing well. And that makes it to where, Scottie, we and everybody, we can be at more events. The OEMs want to be at more events, but we need the whole industry to do well. And that's, I'm a motorcyclist. If you ask me what I ride, I like to ride everything. I can ride an adventure bike. I can do a jet ski. I've ridden a jet ski from Miami to the Bahamas. I've done the whole Mississippi on them.
Wow.
I've ridden around Manhattan on them. I've done about everything you possibly can do. But I love all parts of it. But we need everybody to be doing well. And my goal is that I'm just hoping that we can get back to, Scottie, was it 2015, 2016, 17, where it was really kind of so even with everybody, do you think?
Yeah, right around then. And then the Indian came out in 2017, and then that was it. If you didn't have an Indian, you weren't going to be in the main event pretty much, or even in the field. So it's gone through some changes, and now Yamaha stepped up their program, and of course restricting some of the Indians has kind of equaled the playing field a little bit, but the Essence and Yamaha team spending so much money to go fast with their electronics and with all the other stuff that they have to deal with. It's hard for, you or me as former racers to go buy a bike and try to be competitive with these guys. I mean, I don't have the budget, and it's just hard to do. So I think with the new rules for next year, it's going to be sad for Indian to leave. But I think, like you've been talking about, it's going to open the door. Hopefully, more manufacturers will get back involved in our sport. And I don't care which ones it is. Right now we have Yamaha helping Essenson. We have Royal Enfield, with Johnny Lewis, and now with Dalton Gauthier because Johnny's hurt. And Harley's, there's one Harley on the whole circuit. So maybe Harley can get back involved. Yeah, Maxwell. So
or even if they can do something with their dealers to help get them back involved and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping, or even if we can. I mean, I'm going to look at the rule book. If I think it's really good, I may have some free time to do a little driving around the country or something, maybe I'll have. But I think there are a lot of all brands, whether it's a Triumph or whether it's a Kawasaki or Yamaha or whatever. I think there are a lot of them sitting at home right now. I mean, I've told the guys at AFT, I personally think a lot of Jim France. I don't care what anybody says. Jim's a very good guy. He's a motorcyclist, true and true. And I'm a Jim France fan. I think what Jim had tried to get Bill to do when he was doing the Kawasaki in the beginning, it was try to show that we could make racing affordable.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And, if we could tag along to, we have, Wally Brown Racing. Wally Brown used to work at Joe Gibbs. If we had some more of that kind of crossover and cross-pollinate, I think that would help us too.
Yep. The problem with Estison is they're paying Jackie Mitchell so much. That's where most of their budget goes to.
That's funny. Jackie Mitchell and Ronnie Jones, and I'm just kidding. No, they help out the charity. What Essenson is doing is helping our sport, but that's pretty funny.
No, they're paying Jackie too much money. That his travel budget and his private jet and just all that. So
it parks next to my private jet.
That's the problem. I'm sorry I go off candor a little bit.
No,
all right.
That's what we're all about. We want to know what John Rall's about, and John Rall's story.
Well, if I had a glass of wine, it'd be even more stories. But but no, it's it's such a great deal, and there's so many great people. Everybody that's on here right now, it's
thank you.
It's important, and it's very important for me. I mean, we all talk about it, the kids and the phones and everything else, and we've got to get them away. We got to get them back into riding stuff and everything. Even with us, we have our little bicycle now with electrodes and stuff like that, and just trying to get kids on those to get them used to, doing stuff, and doing stuff with power and everything. I'm big into mountain biking myself, but I know a lot of people are into the e-bikes and everything, but it's getting people on two wheels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
for
outside,
sure.
away from the TV, away from the games, away from the computers and stuff like that. Let's go back outside where we used to always have fun. After every day after school, we'd go outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
My parents on the weekends, if I came home before 5 or 6 o'clock, I got my butt kicked.
That's what's
I wasn't
wrong.
allowed in the house.
Yeah.
unless something was broken.
Well,
Yeah.
that's,
And
you know,
then it was like, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put some water on it.
we,
Yeah.
that's back even, back when I was a kid. I mean, for me, it was the old Keystone mini bike that was my brother's, and that's what kind of lit it. But I rode snowmobiles from the time I was 3 years old. And so, I do agree with the importance of being outside doing stuff, and jet skis. And I mean, I think all the time being here, I think of you, John, all the time, being here in Havasu, because I see the jet skis out there, and I'm like, or I'll be down having breakfast with Jim Beaver and looking at his newest ski, or my good friend Dave Butts owns a couple of newer Kawasaki stand-ups, and I'm like, I always think of you whenever I see one. So
Fun story with me and down in Havasu jet skiing. We had a new one, very, 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 very pre-production one. And I was riding from Laughlin to Havasu, got just about to Havasu, and it sank on me.
oh,
It was a little pre-production.
Oh.
I hate when I have to swim home.
yeah, that's a hell of a ride too. That's a long ride.
I did the whole Mississippi for Men's Journal magazine. We rode
Wow.
from the top all the way out to buoy number 1. Almost went to jail twice and got shot at twice. And but we made it. Started in 20-degree weather and ended in 80-degree weather. So
Damn.
it made for a hell of a story, but I sure was glad to be done with that one. But
Yeah,
I bet.
no
I
doubt.
tell you what, when I fly over the Mississippi and I look down at it, it still gives me creeps about the time I went down it on a jet ski. And then I've ridden from Miami to the Bahamas on a jet ski.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a ride too.
I took six media people, and the minute they couldn't see shore, they were like freaked. I'm like,
they turn around?
no, you don't turn around.
I was going to say.
No. And I'm like, I know where we're at. Just come on. Now, coming back is when it got interesting, because we had 6 to 8 footers behind us and we got caught in a thunderstorm.
Oh.
That's one of those times I went, what the hell am I doing?
Start second guessing yourself.
Oh my God. That's
But then
awesome.
some of the motorcycle rides that I've gotten to do, are just so in so many great places in the country, I've ridden across country numerous times, and, people ask me, well, what's your favorite bike to ride? I said, it depends on what day of the week it is. I don't care. I mean, me and a journalist one time for Daytona, this has been a good while ago, we rode KLRs from California to Daytona for Bike Week, And no, I didn't ride it back. I flew home because I was on the semi coming back. But it was a great ride out there. But and what some of the stuff we got to do, and then when I used to go to Sturgis, when Kawasaki used to do demo rides up there, I used to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna fly home. I just grab one of the demo bikes and ride back to California and everything." So
Wow.
that's one thing I gotta say, for myself and all of us really is. I'm not a religious guy, but I've been blessed to be able to do and go to some of the places. But it's meeting. It goes back to one thing: is meeting the people.
Yeah.
And Scottie, I don't know how much off street bike stuff you've done, but I mean, I've had to do a lot with Kawasaki, and you stop at a place out in the middle of nowhere, and they want to ask you about the bike and stuff like that.
Sure. No, I didn't ride a lot on the street bike. I have a Harley. It's probably got 20,000 miles on it. It's a 2007 that tells you how much I ride. So I'm just too busy, but I did sell Harley Davidson products, and so I got to go to all the Harley dealerships in the Midwest. And you can strike up a story with any person that's in there because you have the same common interest of being on two wheels and going wherever the hell you want to go that day.
We used to do a big event called Americade West. It was in Estes Park, Colorado. And what was one of the coolest things, because all the manufacturers were there, all those manufacturers and people that work for them, at night, we'd go for a ride with everybody, but we all switched brands.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a great
And,
idea.
It was so neat because then I got to experience whether it was the Harley, the Yamaha, or the whatever, Suzuki or whatever, is everybody got to experience something different. And, we'd ride somewhere and then have a big dinner with all of us people that worked in the industry and stuff like that. And to me, that was so important for all of us to see, everybody builds a good bike. They're all different. Sure. And you got, if everybody bought the same damn car or the same this, that, and the other,
it'd be boring.
And everything. As long as no one buys Priuses, I'm good.
I'm right there with you.
I won't even get in a Prius.
Uber?
No.
Yep.
I was in Vegas at SHOT Show, and the girl from Kawasaki was with me, and an Uber Prius pulled up. I said, I ain't getting in that thing. We'll wait for another.
Awesome.
I will have to say I did cheat one time. I was in San Diego and called one, and this cute girl came in it driving. I said, I'll get in.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm all over the place. I don't know if you wanted this or not, but
so John, I got a question. You just said you wouldn't, people ask you what kind of bike, it depends on the day. So if you were to go right now, if you were to leave your office right now to go ride somewhere, it doesn't matter what kind of bike, where would you go for the most fun, for the best ride? Where would you go right now?
Probably in the Northeast. I live in California, but I have a summer home in Maine.
Okay.
In Bar Harbor. And just that whole New England area is so badass to ride in. And when we used to do, Kawasaki used to be at Americade every year, I'd bring in some journalists and we'd do a big loop up into New Hampshire, Vermont, and back into New York and stuff like that. And, some of those areas are great. But then again, too, you know what? I've ridden, I can take you on some fantastic roads right outside of here, in California and everything. There's some great places. I've also ridden in Mexico a bunch, This is going to date me and everything. So when we brought out the 250 Ninja and everything, Crothers and a bunch of them would be able to tell you the whole story too, is we did a press intro in Mexico at the La Carrera race. So you'd be riding a 250 Ninja in this race and a stock car would pass you at 150.
Wow.
Whoa.
Our anti-sales team here, our sales prevention, I call them our legal department. I don't think they allow us to do that anymore.
No.
But you know what? That's a hard one because I've ridden in so many great areas and everything. And even at Daytona, we used to bring a truckload of bikes for media and everything. Riding the Keys was always fun. But I think the Northeast, actually, I would say from the Carolinas or South Carolina or from
all the way up.
Atlanta all the way up.
Okay.
I think all that area, off into Ohio and that's a hard one. Because then I've also ridden up around the UP of Michigan, in Wisconsin, I think has some great roads, So wow. And
wow.
You've been to Sturgis, I know, Scotty. So
every year.
That's a hard one.
It's tough, right? Yeah.
But no, it's I'll go anywhere on any kind of bike. I don't care.
Oh yeah, or a jet ski apparently.
Or side by side. I've ridden
side
by sides from Big Bear here in California all the way to Vegas. I've done side by sides a little bit of everywhere,
Yeah.
Side by sides are really big right now. That's one thing. The 4-wheel products are very much helping all the OEMs and everything. And, we even have one now with heat and air conditioning,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That new Ridge. Yeah. what an incredible machine. And
Mhm.
I've heard a lot of positive things about that machine, but you
It's
know,
it's doing well, and then the KRXs, are side by sides, they're doing well. Another thing I think is interesting, I don't know if, and you can tell me shut up whenever, but like Kawasaki, I don't know if you guys know it, but we have a plant in Lincoln, Nebraska.
oh yeah,
We're, since 73. But we
yep,
also build the New York City subway, DC City subway rail cars there. We build
Yep.
Boeing 777 doors there and everything. They do tours. I recommend anybody, or if any of you guys want, I can always arrange a tour for you, because I've taken people in that are not interested in any of our products and they go, whoa, and you employ 3,000 people here,
That's great.
and they're just shocked at everything that we do and how long we've been there.
yeah, good. Actually, we were talking about that a little bit before you came on. Good friend of ours and vintage flat track racer. He's a vintage person and a vintage flat track racer. Rob Goodwin, and sorry, Rob, I had to, but he listens to the podcast, so um, he worked at KMM there in Lincoln for quite a while in the rail car division. So years and years and years. So it's of course my good friend Brian works out there. Um, and I was blessed enough to meet him
Mhm.
through working with Muzzy when we were working on some engine stuff way back in the Terex days, even, So the original Terex, I should say, not the
It,
KRX.
it's amazing what they put out there for as far as testing stuff, with virtual roads, 7-post shakers, and there's a lot of other stuff that I
Oof.
can't even tell you about. That's just it's amazing to see what we're doing out there and seeing all the people do it, how, stuff comes in on a truck in big steel piles and then comes out as a unit out the other side and
Yeah,
shipped throughout the world from there too. And some stuff that we're getting ready to introduce in the next 4 to 6 months, that's being built out there is really pretty interesting.
very cool. Very cool. We'll look forward to that for sure. And the man, it's you have so much history in motorsports, John, not just like motorcycles, but your
Yeah.
years with Kawasaki and motorsports, 4-wheel, 2-wheel, marine, jet
Yeah.
skis and all that. It's really really cool. I remember the first time I met you in person, I think was uh, probably 2013, I think, at Rally on the Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you guys were out there. Uh, what were you driving at the Terex's, I think.
Yep.
Terex was that would have been Terex 4 at that point, I think.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, it was that was that's where I met you to begin with. Very first time was through the side by side industry, and of course, I mean, we've somehow ended up becoming good friends, and um, I have huge respect for what you do there and how long you've been there. Um, but I'm also very jealous of all the cool shit you get to do.
Yeah, it's like I said to I would say is I've been blessed to be able to do it, and just
Hmm.
the stories, but it's about the friendships and the people. I was talking with one of our Japanese people here today, that they come in for 3 to 5 years and they leave. Sometimes you see them again, sometimes you don't. One that I've seen a couple times, I said, because he was disappointed that I'm thinking about maybe seeing the checkered flag. And he was like, I said, yeah, but the friendships that I've made and people like you, that's the friendship thing's the whole thing. So Rally on the Rocks, we're out there. I decided to take a mule out there. So we go riding with this whole group one day. And it was me and Tim Tolson from UTV Action. And this person ahead of us had $1 million and had his wife with him in this Polaris Razor. And they couldn't get up it. And we went right up it with the mule. And the wife goes to her husband, they have something that thing's only worth about $10,000, and you got this $100,000 thing, and you can't get up. A guy came up to me later and said, "Thanks a lot."
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Appreciate
was a
it.
rally on the rocks, kind of funny deal and everything. But
Yeah, that
it's
I have
it's really been fun. It's great, and I want to see more people in it, and everything. I just want to see more people, and I want to get Scottie. We got to get AFT headed in that right direction too. We just, whatever I can do to help, and I just want everybody to, hey, quit with the negative, and start. Let's all get with the positive. There's going to be new rules. Let's go with it and make it work and everything. It's
for sure. And
I
I think
I'm with
I
you.
think it can. I think it can.
yeah, well, you're talking about the importance of relationships in the industry and friendships, and two of my very, very, very best friends are married as a result of your introduction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've both
I'm
been on the
matchmaker
show too. Yeah, he's also a
matchmaker too.
matchmaker. He introduced my good friend Casey Cadero and his wife Jess of Backwoods Promo. Man, that had to be 10 or 12 years ago now.
Yeah, it's funny that just came up on one of the Facebook things and everything. We were actually in the Northeast. We were doing a side-by-side thing outside of Boston, up in New Hampshire and everything. But yeah, and then I didn't even get paid for that. I'm a matchmaker too, Jeez.
Put it on your resume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my resume is a mess.
I get they're actually the reason I'm in Havasu now. So,
Really?
yeah, I guess ultimately
people.
I have you to thank. So
They're great, great, great people. And I know they're having fun, with their child now and everything.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
very, very happy for them. And they were both made to be with each other. And I'm glad that they found each other, because I think they both were having a hard time finding the right person and everything. But they're two people I think very, very, very highly of and everything. So yeah, put that on their old resume too.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
You've teased the checkered flag a little bit. Do you have plans of something that you're gonna do after the checkered flag waves, or you're just gonna sail off into the sunset?
No. What I don't want to do is I'll be honest with you, I've had offers from other OEMs to work part-time for them. I'm not going to do that. I've worked my whole life here for Kawasaki. Kawasaki's been good to me. I have a lot of Japanese friends. I have letters from some of our past presidents when they left thanking me. And so I don't want to do that. I want to do something to help and better the industry. I've told a few of the people that you work with at AFT that I'd be willing to, if they need help, I'd like to do that. I'd like to find some stuff for 3 or 4 or 5 months at a time.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I want to do something to help give back to the industry that's been so good to me. That's my goal.
Very cool.
I think that I really can't do anything until after I'm kind of out of here or done completely and everything. So, but yeah, that's my goal, is to do something to help the industry. That's been so good to me for many, many years.
Well, what about putting the leathers on and slinging a leg and strapping the old light shoe on and slinging a leg for a little vintage recreation?
I've thought about that, and who knows, maybe, but I still have my steel shoe. I still have a set of leathers or two that, but I don't know. I'd really like to spend more time, maybe talking to the folks at AFT, maybe about doing something to help them, and, it just, or whatever I can do to help the industry, especially get flat track.
Yeah.
With the upswing and everything.
Cool.
And I'd go to Esteson, but Jackie's got all the budget, and he gets all the jets and everything.
That's so funny, yeah.
Oh, I hope Jackie listens to this.
I do too. I want to make sure he listens to it.
But he's
such
one
a
of the
great
best.
guy.
He's
yeah.
one of the best, and you know that era with him and all that. You know,
Mhm.
my gosh, all the people that came up through then. Because Scotty, you're kind of right after him, right?
Yeah, I raced from like early 90s to my cousin was killed in 2000. I kind of hung it up in 2001, 2002. So it was like I don't know if I would say the generation before me, but the riders that were kind of retiring as I was getting going, man, those guys were amazing. You know, Ricky Graham and Scotty Parker, Chris Carr, you know, Ronnie Jones, Kevin
Bird.
Atherton, man,
Yeah. Hmm.
that's the talented group right around there.
It was some crazy stuff going on back then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I got to participate in some things that we can't talk about. You know, hanging around with, you know, when people would come through here, like Oklahoma City is like halfway between California and the East Coast, and so people would stop at Ronnie Jones's house, or Kevin Atherton would stay here when it was too cold up north, and man, we had a lot of fun. And the motorcycle racers just do it differently. They know how to let their hair down. How do you say it? You know, if you want to say it like that.
So, are you in Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir. Yeah, right in the Tornado Alley.
Yeah, I was there when the bomb went off.
No kidding. I was
Wow.
too, unfortunately, but
Yeah. Actually, what we did was we were doing the Oklahoma City Farm Show over at the
Fairgrounds Arena.
And
Yeah.
we stayed at Embassy Suites over going out towards the airport and everything.
Meridian. Yep.
Yeah, and then we loaned them. I called back because we were doing setup when it all happened.
Okay.
And then we called back here. I talked to some of the people. We donated some mules to the situation down there and everything.
Well, that was something else.
Oh, that's something and a day that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And
Me too. I got
it's-
goosebumps right now. You know,
Yeah,
it's part of my life that I'll never forget, you know.
Yep. And then what was always fun when we used to do that farm show, there was a motocross track that was, just over past where the Air Force Base is it Air Force
Yeah.
Base? There was a
59th and Douglas is what they called it. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to take our semi over there on Saturday
Okay.
night, and we
Yeah.
had a district manager, Todd Hammock.
Yep.
and-
Oh yeah.
I work for him.
Did you?
I still kind of do. He runs Endurocross now. Used
And
to
so
have me.
anyhow, we used to
Yeah.
call him No Air Hammock. And
Yeah.
we take him over there with our
I got to write that down.
big, beautiful Kawasaki semi.
Yeah.
And we would let him race motocross that night out of the semi. And
Oh,
then
big
we take
time.
it back over to the farm show for the last day and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I
Like
get
I
to see-
said, I could give you more stories than
That's
if you want
fantastic.
NASCAR stories, I got some of them too. But there's a lot of the Kawasaki stuff and everything. But no, I never forget when we used to do that one. But we'd always go to that. And that was what was cool is like my boss loved the fact that, you know, I'd say, hey, we're going to pack up we're just going to take the semi over there tonight. And do
Right.
that. Oh, that's great. And the kids and the people would love it. We'd let them
Mhm.
run around in the semi
Sure.
and
Yeah.
everything. And they all had fun and No Air Hammock. We'd watch him go across the jumps. And
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I remember Team Green rider Robbie Raynard was out of
Yes.
Moore, Oklahoma, just south. And I grew up. Well, I lived on the street just north of his house when he was coming up through the ranks.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny how it all kind of blends together. But I remember
Exactly.
I remember a very sad time in Oklahoma City, but I also remember some really great times and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
I'm right there
sure.
with you.
Todd's a great guy. I see Todd, you know, several times a year at the Kicker Monster Truck Nationals. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw him about
Gallup a couple weeks. No, that was a different one.
about
Yeah,
a month and a half ago in Gallup. Yeah,
there you go.
for the
I was
monster
really
trucks.
sad when Todd left, you know, but I also got it because I believe he went to work for his brother back then. I'm not sure. I can't remember everything, but
I
he
think so
did a
too.
really, really good job for us. And that was the really cool thing back then. So many of the DMs and everything it was all about riding. All
Dennis,
about
Dennis Hawthorne, you know, right here in Oklahoma City, and
I know Dennis very well.
yeah, he man, that guy talks faster. I think I talk fast. He can get on the rev limiter and talk really fast.
So we were doing a boat show in Chicago, and you know, Dennis is Dennis.
Uh-huh.
We got kicked out of a cab in a snowstorm and had to walk 3 miles back to our hotel because he pissed off the cab driver.
Oh my gosh.
But I
Wow.
love Dennis. Dennis is he's such a good person.
Yeah.
and a great DM. He's helped me a lot. I have a lot of media people out your way and everything, and
Okay.
all my media people that have met him just love him. And man, he could ride a motorcycle.
Definitely. Yeah. He shocks people still. He's still really fast.
Yeah,
Really fast.
and he's just Dennis.
Oh yeah. I love him.
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
That's great to know that you know those guys, good guys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because you were talking about NASCAR stories, and you had mentioned Ralph earlier, and we have Ralph on the show not that long ago, and he gave us a couple of NASCAR stories that were just crazy. Like I was like, whoa, really? But
Well, I'll do all my NASCAR stories, but not on here.
yeah, I'd like to hear those in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be
Maybe
great.
one day we see each other again.
Yeah, I could tell you some stuff. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I've been like you. I've been blessed to build so many relationships, and I haven't been in the industry for 36 years. I'm barely 30 years old. But
Me too.
but no, I've been in, of course I was very involved up in Canada as a much younger person in motorsports and road racing, and I tried my hat at moto, and I did ride a KX. I decided I couldn't get to where I wanted to go on a moto bike and started doing some I don't know if you call it illegal or illicit street racing with great success on a very well built KZ 650. It turned in opportunity, turned in a few laps in road racing on a KZ 1000, and but the opportunities. I got distracted. Sorry. The opportunities that we've had, the people that we've met, and the people that it's always seems like in this industry it's 6 degrees of separation. It's just so crazy. And one of these Tuesdays, you guys got to come out to Havasu and do the motorcycle lunch. So we have some great guys. Eddie's there, Kenny's there. Eddie wasn't there this last week, but Kenny's there. Dick Reisick from Kirker, Dave Bush, whole bunch of guys that I know you guys had just I know them all. And I often walk out of there going, what the hell am I doing with this group? But, like you said, just blessed,
So Scotty, I decided, do some road racing after the kid thing that I did,
Right.
I was like 16 or 17 and went to do some stuff. Was it Nelson Ledges? And so I had an RD 400 and it was going good, but I was out there in practice and they had some of the bigger bikes out there. And I'd just really been racing flat track. And
Right.
you get pretty close in the corners and you bump and everything
Right.
else.
No big deal.
Yeah. So I go there and there was a bike there in practice. I can't remember what it was, but anyhow, he boom on by me down the straightaway. In the corners, I'd go up. Well, I bumped him once or twice in the corners, So then I'm coming in after the practice and I notice everybody's around our pits.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, hey, they must be telling me, hey, you're doing pretty good.
Good job. Yeah, good job.
They let me know that if I did that one more time, I'd be putting the bike in the truck.
You'd be out of there.
I said, well, in flat track, you got to move them out of the way. And
That's right. Revan's racing.
Yeah. And they weren't.
They frowned upon that.
Yeah, they were not happy about that part. And everything.
That's a good one. I like that.
Oh, that was fun. I'll never forget that. That was good times and everything.
Yeah.
That is
road racing
awesome.
was kind of fun. I had a good time doing that too, but it was, I don't know. I just so enjoyed the flat track stuff and getting to go to all the flat tracks and the different tracks and everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Some of them were pretty scary back then.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you're not waving that or taking that checkered flag too soon, John. But but it's so much history, and man, it's just crazy. I hope we can get you back on and
Yeah.
get some even more stories. I know
Yeah.
we're pushing up on time frame that I
Okay.
promised you we'd be. So
Yeah.
I don't want to rush you off, but I also promised you we'd be an hour. So
I'm good with anything. You guys, I don't know how long you guys go, but I'm good with anything. But if you guys have any more questions or anything, I can, answer them. And, sometime if you want, what we could do is it would probably have to be like the first part of October, but if
Yep.
you want, I can carry my computer downstairs and I can kind of walk you through our Heritage Hall.
Oh,
Some of our really cool old motorcycles and some of the history and stuff like that. So if you guys want that sometime, I'd be more than glad to
that'd
do
be
that.
that'd be awesome.
Sweet.
Scotty, have you been out there to their new
I-
building?
I
Well,
have not seen it.
I guess it's not new now, but it's still the new building to me, right? So
Yeah.
it is amazing. John walked me through there be probably 3 or 4 years ago now.
Mhm.
And just it's incredible. And the story of the black and red ninja, I relay that story that you tell me all the time.
About Tom Cruise.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
we did Top Gun 2, and when Top Gun, the first one came out, Tom Cruise and one of the producers came by here and they were talking to our heads of marketing. They're like, well, Tom wants to ride one of your bikes and everything. Well, back then he was not known or anything,
Sure.
and they were like, well, I don't know. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it and everything. Well, he went out and bought the Ninja, took all the emblems off and everything. Well, when they came back this time, we've heard of him,
Well, I would say so.
And so then the H2s that we used and the old bike too and everything, it's all in the movie, and which
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
yeah. That's
There's some
pretty
stories there that I can't talk about right now, but
awesome.
if you guys want to hear them sometime, call me offline or
There you
Zoom me
go.
offline, and I'll tell
There you
you.
go.
Tell
Yeah.
you those are, it's kind of interesting doing the movies and the TV stuff, it's a little different, and some of them are so nice and some of them are a little full of themselves and everything.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure.
I did a movie with Scott Eastwood one time. Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
That's I've heard that.
The
his
girl
dad.
that was in it was the longest ride.
Okay.
And we filmed it. It was actually filmed in North Carolina. They were all super, super nice people. But the girl that was in it, she was hilarious. I can't remember her name, but she could make us blush. Before she would do a scene, she'd get us all blushing and everything, but super nice. The last day, this was huge production. They both went around thanking each table at lunch, and everything personally. And
Very
just
cool.
good people. And there's some other ones that I've met along the way. I mean, I think you guys know I do some stuff with Garth Brooks and George
Mhm.
Strait and everything. So they're good people too, really
Yeah.
good, nice folks and everything.
I think my dad was selling Kawasaki's at the house Kawasaki just down the road from where I'm at right now, and Reba McIntyre's dad came in and bought a bunch of mules from him when he was working back then for their farm that's here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And
Then
they're really
Blake,
nice people.
Blake has a mule too.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, Mr. Boyer and him got one.
Yeah,
But
that's so cool.
like I said, there's many stories if
Oh
Maybe.
yeah.
Yep.
glass
Yep.
or two of vino or a good beer or something like that. And it's funny because what happens is a lot of my media events that I do, everybody's like, oh, tell us this. They don't want to hear the stories and everything. And the problem is one leads into all night
7.
with them.
Yeah.
But you know what? Then I think of the good flat track ones too and
Mhm.
everything, I remember seeing J.R. Rawls, walking through a hotel down in Daytona because they told me he didn't have shoes on. So he went and got 2 steel shoes. So he walked through the
Clank, clank, clank. Yeah.
clank, 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 or just, I just can remember so many of different riders and
That's-
the stuff they used
Oh,
to
yeah.
do.
That is awesome.
But good
It's-
folks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The industry is, for the most part, the industry is full of good people. The motorsports industry, as a general, it's I've always said it's a big industry, but it seems like a small family.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always appreciate about flat track is, you know, I don't ever feel I feel like I belong. I don't ever feel judged. That I never slung a leg on a flat track. I did ice race a YZ80 when I was 8, but I never been on a flat track bike, and well, I've sat on one, but that's about it. Rob wouldn't let me ride it, so
I hope, and I'd be interested to see what you think, Scotty. Is my first professional flat track race was on an indoor Market Square Arena in Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah.
And I wish that AFT, and this is just one of my wishes, that they would do during the winter like an 8 or 10 race series. Keep everybody. If we could keep, and I'm not saying what they're doing wrong, and I'm trying to spend their money, but
Right.
if they had like an 8 or 10 race series during the winter around the country for indoor stuff, I really think, and then trying to get the OEMs involved with stuff like that, but involve it with the motorcycle show. I mean, I raced at the Cow Palace when
Right.
they
San
had an
Francisco.
IMS show, an international motorcycle show, and that, and stuff like that. That's what I'd like to see, or how we could get involved with something that.
Well, there's a couple instances like the Chili Bowl. The dirt's in there for a long, long time. Let's go there the week after the Chili Bowl or the week before. I know the week before is the Tulsa Shootout, but there's dirt there. How about the race in St. Louis in the dome up there? Because that's a quarter-mile dirt track the late models are running on. We could go up there. I mean, there's a lot of other places like that. Hell, let's bring back the Astrodome. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a place I'll just never forget.
Exactly. Me neither.
I mean, that was, and they used to have a big motorcycle show there, and that, so they were drawing in and everything.
I had to tie it all together.
Yeah, and they need to make I was telling somebody the other day, they're like, well, the IMS shows are gone. What do they need to do? I personally think you could do something pretty good with it if you would take and make it more of, I don't think it can be the motorcycle show standalone. I think it needs to be more of a motorcycle sportsman, bicycle, I don't know if you want to do the hunting.
Two-wheel deal.
Yeah, but to have it, have the kayaks there, get the people that, I want some little kid that walks over and his mom's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but I want him to, hey mom, I want to sit on this motorcycle, get away from it, son. But no, I want him to get on there, or our little electrodes, have stuff going on and stuff like that. Or that's what I think they need to do, but I still think they need to have something for the professional racers to be able to make money during the year and do it 10 race.
Yeah. I agree, and that'd be crazy good to watch.
And I had fun doing the indoors.
Oh yeah, indoors, a lot of rubbing going on there.
That would be a lot of fun. But
back then too, like my first one, there was over 250 of us, and they took 60 of us to the program.
Right.
Wow.
And I qualified 58th, so
you made it in the show.
Yeah, but but no, I mean, that stuff was so cool. And really kind of the indoors on the concrete like that kind of evened it for everybody.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
And the 450s, you could do it just fine.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, they got the speaking of concrete, they're going on pavement. Sturgis next weekend, next Sunday.
Last Sunday, yep.
Yeah. Now this episode will come out after Sturgis, but Scotty and I were talking about it a little bit in the opening, and I am really excited. Because I've never been to Sturgis, but 2, I of course haven't been to Black Hills short track. I do like short tracks. I have a great appreciation for miles,
Yeah.
But the short tracks are I feel like as exciting as the miles,
Cool.
and then TT, someplace they've never gone before. And it looks to me like about 75+% of the track is on pavement.
It's going to be
I-
exciting.
I've always thought, I wondered if just spitballing and everything. If they did 10 miles, AFT did 10 miles and got it on TV, maybe that's what they need to do. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just, because a mile race is something like you ain't never seen.
That's right.
That's the truth.
That's right. It's just hard with the miles right now. The horse people really don't like the flat track people still.
Right.
And, I would love to get back on the Indy. I know there's a new surface on the Indy mile, but I still think we can ride on it. And, we go to the Red Mile. Sacramento is up in the area. I mean, there's tracks out there, and we could do double headers. I mean, let's go. Springfield's a double header right now, so we could do 2 miles here, take a break, do 2 miles down the road, or something. But I like that idea too. I mean, you gotta try something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And, put 10 great miles on TV,
Yeah.
and I think that, and then also too, try to get a little TV money for some of the riders, try to, do what the NASCAR's doing, do what, I think motocross is in for a little bit of a change too and everything. I mean, seeing them going to Bruton Smith's or the Smith family's tracks, for 3 of the motocross races and stuff like that, they're trying stuff different, and I think that you're going to get more people involved and it might work, but I don't know what the complete answer is, but I am glad to see what the rules are going to change. And I think that's really good.
I'm with you.
I don't know what the answer is, but I know you're onto something with the excitement of the miles. I think it was last year at Springfield. The singles main was won by 3 thousandths or 5 thousandths of a second, something like that. One of their heats was won by 5 thousandths of a second. And one of the Super Twins heats was won by 5 thousandths or 4 thousandths. And it's just like, to me, that's crazy. I think the top 10 in the singles class at Springfield one day last year were within a second of each other.
All in one big pack. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was so exciting. So
Scotty, what was your favorite track?
As a rider, Springfield Mile, because it's
Yeah.
the way Chris Carr described it is perfectly symmetrical. So each straightaway is a quarter mile, the corners are a quarter mile.
Yeah.
And I think the last time I raced there on my 600cc road tax, I went wide open all the way around, and I'd never done that on any track before, and I'll never do it again. But it was just incredible. And like the first time I was there, I think I set up at the flag stand. I'm like, oh crap, and you have to tuck back in until you're all the way in the corner, and it's just. It's like poetry in motion. Everything slows down. The dirt is amazing, and it's just I love that place.
No, I could see what that's a perfect one to pick and everything.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to ride Ascot?
I never did. I was I think 91. I think when it was Ronnie Jones won the last one there, and I didn't start racing until like 93, so I wasn't pro until after that. But my boy Ronnie Jones from right here in Oklahoma City won the last one. So
Ronnie, how's he doing?
He's doing
well?
great. Yeah, he's still coming to the races. He still kind of helps out back on track when the charity that helps the flat trackers and stuff. And they're actually up in road racers now too.
Yeah, I saw him at what we have out here called Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And I've asked the AFT folks to attend that.
I wish they would.
And they said that they will next year.
Good.
And you should be part of that.
Yeah, I would love to. My Graham sends me the newsletter every month. I read it. So.
Oh, really?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's important and everything,
Absolutely.
Actually, we just, me and another guy just nominated somebody. They didn't make it for next year, but it's still, it's a great thing.
I'd love to be a part of it.
It's something, where 700 people get together. A lot of them walking a little funny, and but it's something that's great to see in some of the stories and the history and everything.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, we're okay.
That's done with me.
No.
Cut me off?
No, never. I'm I have never been to Trailblazers, so you guys are above
need
my
to do
head
that.
there. But I do need to go see it and check it out for sure. And um, man, I so all these motorsports and power sports that you've been involved with for 36 years, um, where do you see it going? Where do you want to see it go to? And I know we've talked about flat track, and I love your vision
I-
there for sure.
I think everything is kind of on a speed bump right now. I just feel that everything's kind of realigning, and I think all the OEMs are kind of realigning everything. I think things will be good. I do think we need to get more people on two wheels. I think it'll kind of come back. I think a little bit of it is some people like me, aging out and stuff like that, and it's we need to get some new people in it, and I think there are some really great riding schools, and I think the OEMs all need to support that as much as we possibly can. Um, I, I think all the OEMs have kind of gotten like the car companies, and uh, I think we need to thin the herds a little bit, as I call it. Is I think maybe have too many different selections for everybody. Maybe not have quite as many. But that's just my own personal feeling. That's not a feeling from Kawasaki. That's
Right.
that's just my personal feeling. Is might make it a little bit easier for the consumer, whether he's looking at a Harley, whether he's looking at a Kawasaki, Yamaha, Ducati, or whatever. I think they all have some very interesting parts. I mean, every one of them is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'll ride anything and any brand and everything. I'm not just a one brand or against something, but I think that it just needs to realign itself, and hopefully it will.
I think so too, and I think a lot of it is the economy, and if they can't afford to live in a house or the place they want to live in, they can't afford a motorcycle for extracurricular. Like if you live somewhere else in a different country, your motorcycle is your only mode of transportation. Well, we're spoiled over here. We got cars, we got trucks, and there's so many different options, SUVs, and then sometimes the motorcycle kind of gets overlooked until maybe you get older and have extra money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some of the other countries, some of the smaller bikes that we sell, the 230s and 400s, we sell 300,000 of them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, that's not what we're selling over here.
Right.
And everything. And it's, basically the whole family rides on it at the same time. But,
Exactly.
how they do it, I think some of them could be great racers if they want.
Yeah, exactly. They got some good balance.
Yeah. And, but I think we just need a little bit of that, and just, I think it'll all be okay. I just think that it's going to be just a little different for a while.
For a while,
I would think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and
everybody has some great stuff, and everything kind of goes through it phases, like the adventure bikes. Adventure bikes are really big, and then also too, I would say for Harley, their baggers are big.
Yeah.
Where I think it used to be the fat boys, and now it's not, but it's the baggers, and that's what you see. So I think we all need to kind of be more direct of what the consumer's looking for. Also, too, I look at it too as with the interest rates being a little bit higher, like you were just talking about, Scotty. As a guy with an 800 credit score going to spend, and I'm just using this 8% or 10%, is he going to really buy something at that? I think he got his 800 credit score by not doing stuff like that. So I think a little bit of it like that, but I'm also seeing some of the, especially the car manufacturers right now, where they're doing their own 0% or 3%, 2%, So I think that, might help a little bit, when things change, and I think they will.
And I think that there's no choice but for it to change with advocates like you pushing the sport and helping. It's not just a matter of standing on a soapbox and saying ride a motorcycle. I mean, you live it, you help other people live it, and you promote it e- extremely well and to the extreme. And I think that's so important, from the grassroots level up.
I think we all need to show the movie on any Sunday again to
Yeah.
everybody. Because you know what? I was sitting on an airplane. I watch it. You think I'm stupid how many times I watched it, but I was on a plane. I was bored to death. I usually sleep on the planes. I'm out before they do pushbacks. People don't like to do it, but I was up and I was watching it. And this lady tapped me on the shoulder. Said, "What are you watching?" My husband rides. So I said, "It's on any Sunday." I said, "It's an old movie." So I let her have one of my earplugs, and we both listened to it. She says, "Oh, I got to tell them about this movie."
Exactly.
And everything.
Exactly.
I think that movie. I told them in our HR department that, and I got a frequent visitors chair in our HR department here. But I told them they need to show that to any prospective person that's going to work here.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
They're like, "What is that movie?" They don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
So no, I just think we have to, we as OEMs and everybody and all of us that are enthusiasts, we all need to do what we all can to try to promote it and everything.
For sure. Share the stoke.
Yep.
Yep. So, that's awesome. Well said. John, thank you so much for your time. We have got to get you back on because I want to hear some more of those stories.
Maybe after the checkered flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might be best, some of that.
Well, some of those, I talk about that often with Cole. It's like, he's like, "Oh, you got to tell that story." I'm like, "Dude, I can't." Like, and
One
I
day.
think all of us, maybe one day, but all of us have some stories like that.
I got some Muzzy stories.
I bet.
I mean, some people that worked for him too, that had some.
Yeah. It was, I thought it was, funny. What was it? Probably the year, maybe 14, when we were at Rally on the Rocks. And so I met you in 13.
Yeah.
And 14, you had Mr. Was it Mr. M? The Japanese gentleman that was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of the top Japanese. I had the Japanese president here with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you introduced him to me and you were like, he works, or maybe it was the year after. I don't remember. And anyway, you were said, "Oh, he works for Muzzy." And he goes, "Muzzy," and twists you like the mustache. And he goes, "Crazy. You crazy too?"
Yeah.
And I think that's, I at that point, I think I said I must be. But yeah, no, we've got some good stories there too.
I knew somebody that worked at Muzzy's, Martin Carney. Did you know Martin?
I've heard of him. I didn't have the opportunity.
And then Martin
to meet him.
raced for Barry Sheen's dad actually in Europe and the Isle of Man and everything. Martin's a close friend of mine, but he was telling me when the Japanese rider was there, and I guess they had put in some parts that maybe weren't legal. Oh, Martin's on. Oh, we do not want them to tear down. And I've been lucky because I worked in R&D here too. And it's I call them the J guys, and because the Japanese, and they're great, and boy, and they have some fun stories. You get a couple beers in them.
Yeah. They start talking.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff I can't. Really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. We won't push for that. John, thank you so much. Appreciate all your time. Hopefully, will we see it Sturgis?
No. I've got something that I'm pre-planned for. I was going to try to come, but I just can't fit it in and everything.
Okay.
I'm going to actually be up in the Northeast for a little bit. I've got to do some work at the house up there and then get back out here to California. But I'm going to be missing some, but I'll get to a race sometime. not enough hours and everything. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks to you guys for letting me run my mouth too much, but anyhow,
Oh no,
I enjoyed it.
it's
and,
been fantastic.
and thanks for Scotty, all you guys do, you and Ralph. I can't thank you guys enough for
Yeah,
what you
for
guys
sure.
do for each and every week and everything.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And keep Jackie in line, please.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Tell him that
I give him a hard time
maybe
all
you
the
can get a
time.
little bit of that budget.
Yeah, that's what I need. I need my own thing too.
You guys
That's
take care,
awesome.
okay?
Thanks,
Thank
John.
you, John.
man.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye.
Bye. Man, that was fun.
That was awesome. I didn't know what to expect when you asked me to come on, and then you said John Rall. I'm like, all right, he likes some flat track. We'll have something to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's John is just a great guy. He's been a great friend to me in the industry. And like I said, one of my best friends that's like a little brother to me was introduced to his current wife by John. And that's the kind of guy John is, it's just crazy. So blessed to be able to burn up some of his time. And I really hope he decides to do another lap or two before he hits that checkered flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's quite ready to retire, but I think he's got some plans that he wants to do something after he leaves Kawasaki, and I think that's a good thing. I think he's definitely still interested in American flat track, which is a good thing for me. It's a good thing for you too because you're part of it with Kicker and stuff like that too. So,
absolutely.
Flat track's going through some changes. The economy's going through changes. People buying different things. We're in a weird spot right now, but I think we gotta keep looking ahead, and let's get to the future.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. And man, Scottie, thank you so much for jumping in. I'd say you're a natural, but everybody already knows that.
Well, I appreciate it.
And for those of you female listeners, when the video comes out of the first episode with Scottie, be sure and tune in because you'll figure out why they called him, why all the ladies in the industry call him Scottie the Hottie. He is a great guy. Scottie, like a brother to me, and really the AFT family. I really do consider them all family.
Yep.
I had probably 5-minute conversation with Cameron today.
Okay.
Where we covered, about 1,000 things in 5 minutes, but looking forward to seeing him and the gang, and of course you and Ralph and Kristen, and man, I'm gonna have a great recap for that event for sure. So
good. Well, thanks for having me on here to help out and fill in Cole. I know he's got work, and a job ain't nothing but work. So I don't know who told him to start doing that stuff. But no, I appreciate you letting me fill in for him, and I love your podcast. Keep doing it. Keep it going.
Absolutely, man. And right back at you. We love your stuff, and you can find Scottie every Friday on Off the Groove podcast on pretty much any popular streaming service.
Yep, we're all over the place.
Yep, and be sure and follow him on Instagram. The @ Off the Groove, all one word, I believe, or Off the Groove TV.
Yeah, Off the Groove TV. We started that just in case we didn't know where we were going to go when we had the vision to get started. And then, of course, follow me at Scottie Deubler, SCOTTIE So I always put a little bit different content on my socials than I do on Off the Groove. Off the Groove is just pretty much all about the podcast, my stuff. I'll do Throwback Thursday here and there. I'll let everybody know where I'm going, what's going on, and sometimes my point of view. Where am I at this week? It's kind of like, where's Waldo? That's what my mom said. Where are you calling me from?
We do. That's one of the reasons we did this. After show is like, because we're now getting known from doing it wherever, you know, and
where you at?
There's actually been times, especially this last year at Arena Cross, where I have had to ask Cole where I was because
Right.
I was like, oh man, I don't remember where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And so you know how that goes. But yeah, it's awesome. John is a great guy. I was so blessed to have him on. And speaking of being blessed, we are so blessed to have Scottie on. Like I said, be sure and follow him on Instagram uh, at Scottie Deubler 43.
Just that Scottie Deubler works for
At
me.
Scottie
Yep.
Deubler.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then Off the Groove TV, all
Yep.
one word. And of course, be sure and follow our great partners and sponsors, Kicker Performance Audio, online, kicker.com, on Instagram, at Kicker Audio, on Facebook, Kicker, and every other Tuesday night on YouTube at Kicker for the Kicker Unmasked Live TV show. And man, they do a great job. They've been knocking that out of the park for since 2020, so 4 years in,
Awesome.
and they are knocking it out. Everything from fun and craziness to technical. I've been fortunate enough to be a guest on there a few times and talk about motorsports, American flat track, uh, kicker arena cross, whatever it is. So that's super rad. Of course, Bomber Eyewear, keeping my eyes safe for well over 9 years. Check them out. BomberEyewear.com, on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear, and it's Bomber sunglasses, Bomber floating eyewear, Bomber safety eyewear, over 40 styles of frames. Can't even count how many lens combinations. And when you hit the cart at Bomber, be sure and put in the code MAddOG20. And shout out to my good friend Rob McDonald, who was a guest co-host last weekend up there in the Great White North. He tried that code out just to see and ended up with 4 great pairs of bombers. And I'm grateful for him supporting our partners and sponsors. Of course, the Premix Podcast. Find him on Instagram, the @ symbol ThePremixPodcast. That's our boy Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera. And of course, Kelsey Morrell Film. Yes, she's my daughter, but yes, she's amazingly talented, unlike myself. Getting all our video mayhem produced and up and ready for our Instagram. And now also kicking in and helping edit some of the audio with Cole. So grateful for her. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, doing our Instagram stuff for us. She's also capable of doing everything from your social media to building a website to anything marketing you need done. Yell, Hey Keeks. Find her on the webs, heykeeks.com, on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. And I don't know where Cole is. I was hoping I could get him to do it, but I'm going to do Cole's speech and you guys are going to bust me on it, I know. But be sure and rate, review, and subscribe, not only to Mad Dog's After Show, but to Off the Groove Podcast. Scottie, any parting comments?
Man, I just, again, appreciate you having me on. I know I don't hold a candle to what Cole does over there because he's the man. I love what you guys got going on. I love your guys, banter back and forth. And I just, man, I appreciate you having me on, and can't wait to hang out with you in Sturgis, which will be last week if you're watching this right now. So
Right.
We had a great time in Sturgis, and I can't wait to talk all about it, because first time virgin to Sturgis, you're going to have the time of your life.
I'm looking forward to it. I had a great time.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm sure there'll be stories that I can't tell. So, which I'm excited about. So
Awesome.
Yeah, Scottie, I will have seen you already soon. And
It was
as
good
always,
to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Mad Dog.
With that, God bless our troops.
Amen.
God bless our first responders.
Amen.
God bless our racers.
Amen.
God bless America.
Absolutely.
Mad Dog out.